All right, good evening, everyone. Freebase here. We're going to go over the markets, the SPY. We'll start with, as usual, and we'll get into some of the watch lists that we had for today and some of the stocks that we'll be looking at moving forward. The link is in chat to go ahead and join our chat room. This is where we post the watch list every morning before the market opens. So go ahead over and click that link. I will also put a link in the comments later on. And yeah, let's get into it. So the SPY, it stalled out at around that 470 level, like we had talked about. It's kind of flagging right now, so we'll see it on a lower time frame. So let's go into the 1 hour. So, this trend line that we had drawn here, it's hugging it kind of perfectly at 468. So we're looking for a potential continuation. However, we did mention that, since we keep hitting these all-time highs and SPY is kind of just melting up, we are essentially kind of expecting a little bit of a pullback. The Fed, is getting a little tighter with some of their wording just around what they're going to be doing with the markets. But, we also talked about the fact that in December, it's pretty much where some of that resistance is going to come up. But we'll play the volatility as we see fit and as it kind of comes in. But the SPY again is kind of flagging here. It looks like it wants to potentially move up again. But what will happen, in our opinion, is you're going to see a break of this 468 support before that potential spike to maybe 469-ish. So essentially, we wanted to start to consolidate between 467 and 469 over the next couple days, and that'll kind of give us enough of a potential move to the upside. But that's just kind of an overview of the SPY. But we are again at these all-time high levels, and so it's very easy for people to look to take profits. But we'll continue to monitor the options market as well as price action on the SPY itself, and we'll kind of take it from there. But again, 468 is a super important level here. So let's get into some of the tickers from today, and one of them actually had earnings this afternoon, and that's Roblox, RBLX. So massive move out of Roblox to all-time highs and after hours. So that's definitely going to be on watch. One, to the downside. I know, potentially people could be looking for this to move to the upside, but we're actually looking for some downward pressure after a squeeze. So all-time highs previously were a 103.87 on Roblox. Just pull that up here. So we had all-time highs up here at this top red line, and it closed at $77 even. And then with their earnings report, just absolutely ripped all-time highs to 105. So this wick here over 103 to the 105 level is going to be this immediate resistance level that we're looking to potentially have this bounce off of to the downside. So we'll be watching this moving forward over the next few days for that potential pull. Because Roblox, I mentioned earlier, and to one of our clients that Roblox pops really quickly and a lot, but it also comes down pretty quickly as well. So that's something that we'll be looking for. Because now we're going to have potentially a huge gap here by the morning, and so then that'll allow us to play this to the downside. But before that downside happens, we are anticipating a potential squeeze to back up to that 105 level. So it's early, right? We still have even an hour and after hours trading, so we'll see how it actually closes there and then opens up in the morning, and we'll play it accordingly. But over the next few days, we're going to look for that breakdown and play it to the downside. But of course, in the meantime, if we can identify some good price action, then we'll trade it up as well. Next, we'll pull up IMMR. So they sold off after earnings, but it's an interesting play because the essentially IMMR is related to kind of the metaverse. They're trying to working on sensory, and so we're looking for some bullish price action after the dust kind of settles here. It looks like it's trying to hold over $7. So we'll wait for it to regain this $8 level, 803 exactly, and we'll look for a potential continuation, a potential squeeze up, and a move back up over the 850 level and test of $9. We know that that is going to be pretty aggressive resistance, so we'll definitely just be looking for some cues there, price action, and as well as some news in relation to the metaverse and potential deals that they could be working on. But we caught it last week around the $7 area before, so we're looking for that to kind of hold that support. And this kind of line in the sand here is around 670, 665. And so we'll be watching that pretty closely as well. That's IMMR immersion. All right, next, we'll jump over to some EVs. So the infrastructure bill passed over the weekend, and that's a $500 billion influx of capital into various areas of markets, one being electric vehicles. Of course, Biden is a big proponent, big proponent of his campaign is EVs. So we're definitely going to be looking for some continuation out of some of these names. Blink, we've been playing Blink for a while. We had it on our watch list several times. The $28 to $30 trade is kind of what we've made. And then we've also we're looking for this kind of pullback into this downward channel here and that break of the downward wedge. That happened, so massive pop out of that consolidation on Blink. And one interesting fact about Blink is that it has a super high short interest, and short squeezes are kind of the name of the game these days. So we're looking for some continuation out of Blink with some news. So in the meantime, consolidation, then a continuation with some news. So when we hear some follow-up news from the infrastructure bill, then we'll look to play Blink again. But that's definitely been a nice trade for us. A plug is another, as you can see, similar flag breakout here, and it's a little bit slower because plug is slightly different than Blink, but in terms of the run, right, Blink is just kind of getting going on its run. Plug here has already ran, so this is a smaller pop, and we're all looking for some levels here. $44 is probably the next target, but we do want to wait for that break of 42.71 before we look to play that again. So plug is definitely on watch, but again, that $42 level is super important. And actually, plug has earnings tomorrow after hours. So we definitely not even going to touch this unless it's to the downside, but we'll watch the price action. But again, what's tough about something like this with earnings is, one, you have the infrastructure bill that's supporting the kind of the new buyers that are in it. So that can basically lessen the potential downward pressure that we would be expecting from something like this. So we'll just kind of, again, wait for that $42.71 breakout and play it at that point. But plug is another electric vehicle name that we all know and love. Next, ChargePoint. ChargePoint, similar, right? So this is another EV charging company. Broke out. It's kind of flagging here on the hourly, and it definitely has some more room to the upside. Our price target long term is $50 on ChargePoint, but for now, we'll look for the $32 break, and that'll be a good indication of the continuation of this uptrend. It's relatively close. I mean, at 28.78, at the highs, it's looking really good. However, there is a small gap to fill, so we'll kind of we'll watch that on charge point. And earnings definitely have a little bit of time on earnings, right? The 1st of December, so there's definitely a lot of time to potentially continue this breakout. So that's a charge point CHPT. All right, so Bitcoin just hit a new all-time high over the $67,000 level. I think it was 67.8 the last time I checked. And so some of the plays that we've been looking at and trading are Riot. Riot was on our list uh, several times, but the other day, we had went long. I think it was the break of $28 into the 30s and 31. And then, we had a little bit of continuation, then pull back to the support around 31, and then just a massive, massive move out of Ride over the weekend, just again with some of the strength in Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of the other altcoins, but it's continuing after hours and it's hitting that $40 mark. So it's continuing this breakout, and we really like what Riot is doing. It's following Mara, MARA, it's Marathon, and it's been stagnant. So Mara has essentially doubled the market price, the market cap rather, of Riot, but there's a few reasons for that. So, shoot us a DM, ask us any questions about the specifics. But there's an interesting story behind Riot and why it's kind of lagging in this rip and during this bull run with crypto. So that's RIOT. So we're looking for continuation over $40 on there. Um, but it is at these levels dependent on what Bitcoin does tomorrow. So Bitcoin can remain bullish and stay at these highs and maybe bounce off of 66,000, then that will lead us to a potential continuation in Riot. Mara is a whole nother beast. The main catalyst there is that Fidelity had invested into Mara, and so there's a lot more institutional ownership in that name. So it's a little bit different. But on the topic of blockchain, Bitcoin, there's SOS. So SOS is kind of lagging here. This previous peak at $3 was when Bitcoin hit those all-time highs, I believe, before. Um, and essentially, what we're looking for is a bounce, and it just needs to catch up. So the first level is 234. Looks like it should get there tomorrow, and the next level of resistance, well, just psychological level would be 250. So over 250, SOS becomes very, very attractive. So uh, we've been playing it to the downside more so than the upside after that false breakout, and so we're definitely interested in the long because one, a lot of the back holders are kind of stuck, and this does have potential for a short squeeze if the crypto market can continue its strength, which we're bullish on it. So again, we're looking at SOS as a penny play in relation to the crypto market. All right, next we'll jump over to Newegg. Newegg is a e-commerce company, but this was a recent short squeeze, and that went from $12 all the way to $80, $79 at the high. So this thing can really move. It's been beat up over the past couple months, and now that they have some time and room in between their next earnings, it seems like there's maybe shorts covering, but I feel like that's kind of already happened. So it seems like there's been massive accumulation going on in Newegg. They're pretty good with their news, and so they also had some crypto news recently. So it's pretty interesting to see this price action today. It popped and moved over 50% today. And so what we were looking for initially was for it to struggle around 1890. That happened, and essentially we were waiting for the break of $20. That can come pretty soon. It did pull back a lot. So right now in this short run, we'll probably play this to the downside, but we are going to be cautious of the squeeze back up. But over 20, we'll probably go long. But again, just stay tuned for more on that, and let us know if that's pretty clear. But again, probably short under 16, long over 20, and play the volatility in the meantime. That's new at NEGG. All right, so let's jump over to semiconductors. So AMD had some news with Facebook. Facebook is going to be using AMD's chips for the metaverse servers, and so that's just a huge news. AMD had a conference today, so they were, kind of just shelling out news back to back. Again, one being Facebook, the other was Microsoft, as well as a price target upgrade on AMD. So because of and chart looks really good, it's flagging, it's hitting these all-time highs consistently, and the new price target is, in our opinion, far enough to where we can continue to play this to the upside. And again, the chart is looking for a continuation as well. So we're gonna definitely be playing that moving forward. At the very least to over the 155 level, and with a potential squeeze to 160. It's not going to happen all at once. So again, we'll be playing that with volatility as it comes in. AMD is similar to Roblox, where when it pulls back pretty hard. So we'll look out below as well, right? But we do want it to bounce off of 148. So that's part of the plan for tomorrow. And AMD, of course, is following NVIDIA. NVIDIA's hit more all-time highs. It's getting a little slower up here, so it is getting interesting for potential downside move. However, news can come out at any time on these things, so you definitely want to make sure that you're protected on both sides. And that's NVIDIA, AMD, and then lastly on the semiconductor end, we're looking at TSM's, Taiwan Semiconductors, and pretty similar move to AMD. So we're looking for some continuation out of TSM, and the level that we want to break here is 124. So we'll be watching that pretty closely over the next couple days. All right, quickly we're gonna jump over to Google. Google, the $3,000 level was pretty important. It looks like it could be trying to form a head and shoulders, but that 3,020 was new all-time high, and so you can expect some potential profit taking in the interim while it starts to consolidate. So with Google, anything around this 2950 area could be very interesting for some more downside pressure, and so we'll be playing that there on Google. But it is holding a smaller trend here. Let's see. That's the 5-minute, we'll jump over to the hourly. So you have a smaller trend, what we call a local uptrend, and it is kind of holding that and squeezing as we move into this week. And so over that 30-20, it definitely has potential. But again, because it's had this massive run, and some of the other news around it, we're potentially looking for this to start to pull back. But at under 29.50 is the level on Google. And Amazon started to pull back from that false breakout over the 3,500 level to potentially the 36. We were looking for 35. We got it. Now we're rejecting 35. So we're starting to get close to a potential pullback. And so what we're looking for is this 34.75 level, and we want to see it bounce off of this. If it can bounce, then great. But we're gonna be watching Amazon pretty closely there. Amazon does like to move towards the end of the week, so we'll be playing that closely. All right, and then actually one other that was actually on our watch list today was Micron. Micron is also a chip maker and had a beautiful breakout like we anticipated. So we had posted this at before the market opened. So down here, right, well, still in the lower 70s. It had a high of 75.03. So we're looking for Micron to continue. We're looking for $77 to break. So that's definitely on watch as well. So we're definitely bullish on Micron, and that was on our watch list this morning. And to see our watch list for tomorrow, go ahead into our chat room and click on the watch list link. And before the market opens, you'll see that list pop up. And and then you'll have some ideas as to what we're looking to trade at the open. All right, so that about rounds things up. We do have some other tickers that we'll be talking about, but again, tune into our chat room, check out that watch list, shoot us a DM, ask us any questions about your portfolio and things that you're looking at. Feel free to post charts or again, just interact with the community. We're building something pretty special here. There's going to be more features added as we move along. So definitely stay tuned for that and don't miss out. But we appreciate you tuning in to Freebase. Please follow, like, and subscribe on all platforms at Freebase. And we'll see you guys soon. Have a great night.